Welcome to Really Raha, the podcast for women who know they're way too powerful to be stuck in a 9-to-5. I'm Rahaf, multi-six-figure high-ticket sales coach, PhD student in global leadership and change, and sponsored skateboarder. I went from serving tables and chasing tips to mastering high-ticket sales and building income streams that don't require me to trade hours for dollars. Here we talk about the real path into remote sales, landing aligned offers, closing with confidence, regulating your nervous system under pressure, and building a skill set that pays you from anywhere. This isn't bro sales. This is psychology, power, and feminine precision. If you're here, it's because you feel it. Freedom isn't optional for you. It's inevitable. Let's get into it. Hi, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Really Raha podcast. Today, I want to just have a flow with you because I woke up this morning and next week is my in-person on Pepperdine marathon, but this one's like extra nerve-wracking because I have my qualifying exam on Friday morning. And basically what that is I wrote a 50-page paper last week. It was due. And now I have to present it in front of a committee, like an oral exam in front of the committee where they basically ask me questions for 40 minutes about my paper and why I use certain theories and I didn't use other ones. And for you nerds out there like me that want to know what my topic was, and I chose my topic. So my topic was, we all had to be consultants for a company and talk about a change that we wanted to do and use specific organizational leadership theories to justify all the changes, the consulting approach, etc. And I chose that I wanted to be the external consultant for LinkedIn Learning and revamp their curriculum, their online digital platform, because the leadership component inside the business management curriculum doesn't sustain leadership after they consume the content. So they go through the course, this online course about business management, and they also need to learn how to be leaders. So it teaches them leadership concepts and knowledge, but when they graduate from the course, they have not practiced in real world context during the course how to be a leader. So it doesn't translate into lifelong learning. So I did a redesign of the curriculum so that it incorporates a community call, reflections after every module, being able to do practices and reflect with the other community members. Like all these things that you need to be a leader cannot be done in isolation. And yet there's this self-guided course that's like, hey, this is how you be a leader in the business management curriculum. And it just doesn't translate. So it was a lot of fun. You know, it's really cool that I get to just at least write papers about the things that I love. And I'm doing my dissertation on my group program Revenue Room, which is all about sales and raising your close rate. So doing the data. So that's going to be my next focus. There's two big rocks in the PhD program. The first one is the qualifying exam. And the second one is the dissertation. So it's just so crazy because I'm like 2.5 years in now. Last summer, we went to Switzerland, and this summer, we're going to Washington, D.C., and it's a global leadership and change program. So it's all about like leadership on a global level, how to be a leader, how to move in times of change with like the organization. Like it's just, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And yeah, so all that being said, I really just want to flow with you in this podcast episode. I just want this to be like we're sitting next to each other having a conversation. If you're new here, you probably don't know that one of the main reasons I created this podcast is because I want you to see all the colors of the rainbow of Rahaf, of the business, what the back of the scenes are like. So you're not just seeing this highlight reel on Instagram. Like I wanted more space to be able to have these conversations because I really, really believe in authenticity in the journey. And I don't want you seeing, oh, this perfection everywhere. Like, oh, it must have been so easy. And I'm not here to tell you it's so hard, you can't do it, but I'm here to show you what it's actually like to be on this journey. So that's what this space is for. And yeah, so school is the big thing coming up for me right now. And I just got out of a luteal funk.
like luteal hits me so strong, and today is basically day one. So the past 7 days were just like my version of luteal, which is just heaviness. And with the stress of school and that paper and trying to get in, it's hard. It's hard. But when I do feel the luteal funk, I can't help but just always, always remember that I would still experience this while I was a server, and I would have to force myself to go serve like 15 tables at a time in the mood, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, I just got to the point where I'm like, I just can't work for anyone anymore. Like, I am unemployable. Like, I don't do well with people telling me what to do. I don't do well with authority. Like, I need to be my leader. I need to be in charge of everything. I need to have my own business. And that's me. Maybe that's my Aries moon. But my Libra sun is like constantly battling the Aries moon. But it just made me so grateful because I didn't have to force myself to do anything these past 7 to 10 days. Like, I don't have deadlines. I have calls in my calendar, but it's literally like a snap and shift, and I am locked into the call. Like, I could be dangling off a cliff for 12 hours and then come home and have a Zoom call 30 minutes later with a prospect, and I would snap and lock in. Like, that has never been an issue for me. But, well, maybe in the beginning. We won't say never. In the beginning. But for the past, like, at least 2 years, it's like anything could be happening in my life and nothing would get in the way. And now it's just gotten to the point where it's like automatic. But, yeah, but I didn't like, I could skip days of content. I could, like, everything back end of the business is taken care of by Mike. Mike helps me out with everything. So I get to just be a luteal mush. I'm watching CSI right now. And I love anything like crime show. I was a huge Dexter fan. I've probably seen Dexter like over a dozen times. Criminal Minds is a big one. I love Criminal Minds. CSI, I'm watching that, like just rewatching it from back in the day. I love like forensic psychology. I think it's because of why I love sales so much, because I'm so fascinated by the interrogations and how it's just all about like, how do you ask the right questions to get the answers that you want to get? And it's just cool seeing that with the lens of forensics and psychology. And it's also why I love psychology, and I got a master's in psychology because I love psychology. And yeah, and I really I wanted to pop on here and just be in the gratitude of it, because this podcast is another thing for me where I could just snap, lock in, and just talk to you guys. And let's share a little bit about how calls have been these past few weeks. So this has been such a journey. I think this is also why I'm just like trying to find my baseline in where we are in the business right now. Cause we're at this, if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, you can see me. Actually, Apple Podcast is about to do a video part of the podcast now too. So I think you guys will be able to watch me on Apple Podcast soon. But I think they said summer. Anyways, we are at this like big break right now in the business. We discovered a new strategy and a DM strategy. So I literally don't have to make content if I don't want to. And we're not running ads anymore. So I don't know if you know this, but we ran ads for like 3 months just to kind of feel it out, test it out. Got a couple clients from it, but we found a better way, and we're not spending any money. And it's like one of our organic outreach strategies. We call it our affinity outreach. And it's actually one of the things that we teach inside Revenue Room. So you literally make money appear out of nowhere. So I haven't been making any content. I post on my story because I like posting on my story. And all the people that are having the conversations with us are going straight to my story. So we're just meeting all these new girls. And anyway, so let's look at the timeline. So 2 weeks ago, so not last week, but the week before, we started using the strategy the Thursday before that, like really aligned with it. And then we got 23 booked calls that week, maybe a little bit more, 23 booked calls. And it was like awesome flow, brought people into revenue room. It was so awesome, like full pipeline at all times. And then last week, we accidentally broke something, but we didn't know what we broke. It's kind of like when, like, I'm a skateboarder, and when you land a new trick, sometimes, most times, you land it, and then you have a hard time landing it again. It's like, it's one thing to land a new trick, but it's another to get it dialed and to get it, like, snap, and you can land it. And when Mike said that to me, I was like, "Oh, okay, like, what a relief," because we had this kick-ass week 2 weeks ago, and then the next week it was, like, not, like, horrible, but it was like, "Wait, like, clearly we broke something and we didn't know what we broke." It's kinda like when you land the trick and then all the times after, your foot is just 2 millimeters in the wrong direction, and you're like, "Why do I keep whiffing it? Like, why am I not landing it?" So it was one of those things. So me and Mike, we spent like a couple hours. We went outside. Like we could have our meeting anywhere we want. And we used to have our meetings every day in the calendar. And now we got rid of everything off the calendar. So it's just, that's another huge change. Just empty calendar, except for sales calls now. No more one-on-one. I have my group calls for revenue rooms. So more time for school. You could tell that I like to go different branches, but I always come back to where we're going. So me and Mike had this meeting. And we're like, what happened in this past week? Like, what broke? And we looked at it and we realized it was like the simplest thing. We changed our symmetry question from our DM framework to be too narrow, and it put people too much in a box, and it wasn't as open-ended of a question, and it broke everything. So it's just so cool because this is why we teach everything that we're on the front lines for. So, like, when we're teaching DM setting, or he's teaching DM setting and I'm teaching sales and revenue room, like, we are actively on the front lines. This isn't like, oh, we learned this 10 years ago and we're teaching it to you. So it's just really cool to have that dream within a dream. So we also found other things. Like, we literally wrote down all of the variables of that week that made it so, like, so much lead flow from just this one strategy of like cold outreach. It was just wild. And then we're like, why did it break the second week? And then here we are, the third week. We learned everything of how to land the trick again, more consistently now. And sure enough, it's like a formula. It's like a formula. This week has been spectacular. And next week is already set up to be spectacular. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I'm on campus in LA. So I have to like drive back. I get to drive back to LA now instead of being in LA and just having it be 10 minutes away from me. So we're going to figure that out. We're going to figure out Chippy, and I'll probably just drive there and drive back to Carlsbad. It's going to be like 2 hours there, 2 hours back every day. But I think it's just Thursday and Saturday because Friday is going to be the exam and it's going to be on Zoom and I can take it at home. So anyways, I'm not taking calls at the end of the week, Thursday through Sunday. So the week is already like pretty much booked next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And it's just so cool when you're just able to just detach and just see everything as an experiment. It's like, awesome. We absolutely nailed it. We had the best week of like booked calls 2 weeks ago. And then we're like, wait, what broke? Yeah, we could have let our emotions get in of like being pissed, being frustrated, but like, why? Like, everything is just pointing you, because if it wasn't for that week last week where we're like, what the hell happened? Then we would not have had that moment to look at all the variables to see why the trick worked, right? Metaphorically, why that good week happened. And it's like, on a deeper level, and this is for you, it's like when you run into a wall, when you run into a problem, see it as an opportunity that there's a like find curiosity, find like the experiment, the formula in it of like, okay, like that's interesting. Like, why did that happen? And you're going to learn so much. You're going to learn so much. And isn't this what this is all about anyway? The person that we become, the things that we learn. So it's such a shift. It's such a shift because I've done some like deep, deep, deep work on how I spend my resources, money, time, and energy. And I've done some like philosophical rewiring these past 6 months and basically learned how to not spend it all. Like, I love spending money, and I had to change my entire mindset around not wanting to spend it as soon as you get it. And same with time, same with energy, not leaving a 50-page paper the week that it's due, not exhausting all of my energy skating for 8 hours in a row, even though I want to, but you just get to a point where you just start hurting your tissues and you're like, okay, let's break this up into like increments of skating, increments of studying, increments of money. So that's been a huge, huge part of my internal journey just in the past 6 months. And it's just, sometimes we need to hear this evidence from other people because I know the feeling, and I think you know this too, of what it feels like to just want something external to change. I'll be happy when I make that money, I land that client, I get this opportunity, I quit my 9 to 5. It's so easy to stay in that land. But the key, the absolute key, and I know you know this, and I'm sharing this with you because I am humbled every time. The key is to shift internally first. How can I become the person who has the belief system of that thing that I want? You want to be out of your 9 to 5? Okay. What is the difference in your belief system from the version of you in the 9 to 5 and the version of you that's not? Maybe it's having a different relationship around money. Okay. What is that relationship? Maybe it's having a different relationship around letting things feel easy. Because when we get off that fire frequency and things start to slow down, it gets a little scary for the nervous system to think something is wrong because the baseline has completely shifted. Maybe we need to change the relationship with the people in our life because the current people in our life don't understand the new belief system of the red pill mindset of the high ticket sales. So there's a lot of rewiring that happens when you want to get the external things. But that does not come until you become the person you need to be to have that external thing. And I want you to just think about that. I want you to just think about the version of you who has all the desires that you're thinking of right now. Being in high ticket sales, having full control over your life, just freedom and flexibility and peace and enough money where you don't even have to think about how to get more. You have this stream of income that's coming in, but more importantly, you have a healthy relationship where you don't want to spend it all. You don't want to hoard it. Like, you don't have these unhealthy relationships with money. You need to be that person first. And then the external will change. I'm humbled by this every time because when we're doing good, when we're in the magic, when we're doing all the things, when we're feeling in sync and connected with the universe, we remember, but when we're out of it, we forget. I mean, and you can think of this with like science too. It's like, think of any time that you feel like you're on top of the world, you have a hard time thinking about or feeling what it's like to feel like shit. You forget what that actually feels like. Don't forget the things that work for you when you're in the magic, and continue to come back to the question of what belief system you need to have to live the life you want, and consistently journal on what those actions look like and continuously witness yourself in every situation with like, be mindful because you have the belief system And then you have the behavior. So the new belief system needs to have a new behavior. And that's the hard part, but that's the part that needs to happen in order to change and to rewire your external reality. So internally, just put all of your energy and focus on becoming the person that you need to be before you become her. Does that make sense? So this is like the deep energetic work that we need to do to live this life, because it's comfortable being at the mercy of someone else. And I put comfortable in quotes if you could see me, because it's not actually comfortable. It's not actually a comfort zone, but anything else is just different and unknown. So there's a lot of rewiring that needs to be done to leap into the quadrant of the blue pill world. And that's what I love what I do. That's why I love what I do, because it's like to teach you sales, to teach you DM setting, to teach you to be a leader in the red pill world is being able to have this community of women all around me that are also doing that. And they're hyping each other up so that even if they're real like in the real external world, they have people around them that don't believe in them, they have a virtual room of women who are on the red pill journey. And that is enough to keep their momentum going. So, oh, and if you don't already know about Revenue Room, this is the light, this is the magic. Me and Mike are in there 4 days a week. Or I'm sorry, 4 calls a week, 2 days a week. And I teach the sales and leadership call, and I hold the guided mock call. So I help all the women mock their sales call. And Mike teaches DM mastery, and he teaches data tracking and operations. And then there's a community, a 24/7 community. And Andrea, I'm going to bring her on my podcast. I think next week I'm going to bring her on. We're going to have a skate date on Tuesday. We're going to skate together. We just finished our one-on-one container, and she is fully in Revenue Room right now. And she just had an 11K month. She was at ground zero, practically ground zero, like $0 in January. Just started learning our frameworks of how to take someone from the DMs to the calls and how to close the calls. And her last 5 closes, she closed them. And we're literally only halfway through March. So she's at 11K and she is just on freaking fire. And that's what happens. This is what happens when you plug in. It's just the formula. You know how I was saying before of like what we did to study that good week, and we learned the formula and we broke it down into variables? That's what this is all about. Like, we literally have a data and tracking call to help you see the variables of reverse engineering commissions, to how many calls you need to take, to the objections that you keep getting. So everything is math. Like, your success is math. You're not any different. This is why when I get women on my calls, my main qualification is if you have high intent, if you're hungry, if you're ready to learn, if you're coachable, if you're trainable, you will see success. This is why I don't say yes to everyone, because if I feel like you're not going to show up powerfully, then I know that's not the formula for success. Therefore, I'm not going to invite you in. So I bring in hungry women, and hungry women hype up other hungry women. So this is the energy of this room. Like, you cannot fail with this mindset. And I'm going to qualify you on this mindset. And I'm going to let you know if it's an aligned fit. I'm not just going to say yes to you if it's not. So I'm going to drop a link in the show notes. So if you have questions and you want to be in this space, or if you're like, Rob, I just have this tiny question, send me a DM on Instagram. I'll put that in the show notes too. But if you vibe with my energy, if you vibe with my values and what I stand for and my philosophy, and you want to learn how to set and how to sell, this is your room. This is your high frequency room. Thanks for sitting with me and having a little coffee chat. I literally felt like you were next to me the whole time. This was so fun. I love just flowing with you. Like, I had no topic idea, no script, nothing. I don't use scripts for these podcast episodes anyway, but this one I didn't even know what the topic was. I just turned on the camera and just started talking to you. So I love you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you next Tuesday.
If this episode resonated with you, if something clicked, stretched you, or made you see what's possible, share it and tag me on Instagram at Radiant Rahaf so I can hype you up properly. And if you haven't already, subscribe and leave a 5-star review so more women who are ready to step into high-ticket sales and reclaim their freedom can find this space. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited for you already. See you next Tuesday.